And I grew up listening to music all the time, and I wanted to sound like Jimmy Page. And I realized very quickly that wasn't going to happen.
Welcome to God at Work, stories of calling, courage, and conviction. Through real stories and meaningful conversations, we'll discover how God shows up in the boardroom, the job site, and beyond. Here's your hosts, Gina Ventola and Adam Kemper. Welcome to God at Work. This morning we're joined by Cheline. Chris has been a professional storyteller since 2001. His work has been recognized with multiple Emmy, Edward R. Murrow, Colorado Broadcasters Association, COSPRA, Telly, and National Press Photographer Association awards. His career experiences include 4 different news stations as a photojournalist, TV commercial production, and general video production for schools, government, and business. Specialties include shooting, lighting, drone piloting, editing, writing, and voiceover work. Chris is a Colorado native with a wife and 3 kids, 3 boys. He
Yes.
is involved with his local church where he plays electric guitar and bass. He loves to follow Denver sports teams in his spare time. Chris, thanks for joining us this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Adam and Gina. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Chris. You know, I'm going to ask you 500 questions about being a musician because
Yeah, I
that's where
love it.
my
Bring it.
heart is.
That's one of the things I love talking about more than anything. So yeah.
So, when did you first start playing?
High school. I was a freshman in high school, and I started taking guitar lessons. And I grew up listening to music all the time, and I wanted to sound like Jimmy Page. And I realized very quickly that wasn't going to happen. But I tried anyways. And I there was actually a point where I almost quit. I was like, never going to be like Jimmy Page. What's the point? And but I kept going anyways. And yeah, I've been playing ever since then.
And you play both guitar and bass.
I do. Yeah. Yeah,
So, it's
bass was my kind of became my primary instrument during college and for several years after that. And I've only more in just kind of, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years really kind of picked up the guitar again. And that's kind of become more my main deal now.
and which is your favorite?
If I had to choose, if I could only have one, I'd probably choose the guitar just because it's more versatile. But there are things I love about both. I mean, I love, especially in a band setting, when you're playing along with a drummer and you're on the bass and how you're just contributing to that rhythmic, you know, force that you can just kind of feel in your gut. I love that. So they've both got their pluses and minuses for me, mostly plus.
Well, well, right. As a bass player, you're actually the one driving the ship.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of those things you don't know how important it is until it's not there. Like if you ever just
Yeah.
go to your car stereo and turn the bass all the way down, you're like, what happened to this song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say that's probably why funk is one of my favorite genres of music
Nice. Love it.
because it's a genre where you can really hear the bass.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A lot of people think it's the drummer who sets the tempo, but nope, that would be you, Chris.
Oh, it's both. I mean, you got to have a good drummer too. It's
Well, that's true.
awesome.
That's true. So, do you have a favorite song or genre that you like to play?
Well, yeah, in my spare time, I love just kind of learning old classic rock tunes. But I also learn worship tunes for church. So that's more what I'm really playing more than anything with an actual band. But you know, when it's just me, I'll put on a backing track and try to do a solo over it or something like that.
I love
Awesome.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I love that you use your talents for the Lord.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So, with that, you know, our podcast is called God at Work.
Yeah.
And so, let me just throw this out to you. What does God at work mean to you?
I mean, it's all encompassing. I mean, you can't you can't just put God in a box and go to work separately. It's all connected. I mean, like you know, I don't just think of work as this place where you go or this thing that you do. It's always in the back of your mind. It's like, well, what am I doing this for? You know, and I've got a family that I'm supporting, and God's right at the heart of all that. God's at the heart of providing the finances through work. God's at the heart of helping you find new clients, figuring out which clients you should and shouldn't work with. God's at the heart of developing your talents and your skills. And so you can't separate it at all. So I don't know. That's how I see it.
So, how does your business embody God at work, or how do you keep God at work with you?
I've been trying the last couple years, especially, to be more intentional about spending time in the Word every day before I work. And that helps me prioritize my day a lot. It's not just waking up and being stressed about the next thing I got to get done or who I need to contact or whatever. It sets the tone. And when you're in the Word and you're grounded, um, the things that are important become clearer much more easily to me.
Where do you think you can improve in that?
Uh, I mean, definitely um, making it more of a priority. I can't sit here and tell you I do that every single day. I do know the days that I do put that priority on my God time. It's things just are better. I mean, it's less chaotic. It's more controlled. There's the peace there. I would love to do that better. Also, just I always have a tendency to worry about the little things. Excuse me. But I want to get to a place where I'm just worrying less and trusting God more with every single detail. And one thing I have learned is like every detail does matter to God. There's nothing that he doesn't that he's not caring about with work. And so I need to be better about bringing those details to him.
I like how you said that as far as bringing details, because that's also an area I struggle with is the little things.
Yeah.
The big
Yeah.
things seem to be easy, correct?
Yes, I
But
agree.
the little things, I don't know how you two were raised, but I was always raised you don't bother people with your problems, especially the little things, something that you can solve yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's in everyone's nature to worry, and it's all over the Bible. I mean, you can't add a day to your life by worrying. And so, but we do it anyways, don't we?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
With running a business and being intentional about keeping God at work, you've talked a lot about what you want to be better at, but I
Hmm.
also want to hear a little bit more about kind of what is at the core of where you're at today with some of the things that you go out, you know, I'm sure you're running your business based on your faith beliefs, knowing you the way I do. So,
Yeah.
kind of how have you built your thing, your business, your opportunity to serve the world with God involved in it, and what's that look like from your perspective?
Well, I mean, I kind of got to take you back to answer that question. I would say I've been in this business for a long time. I started professionally in the year 2000 working at a TV station. And, I spent a lot of years working in TV news, did four different television stations. And I always had a job, right? Um, it was, there was always a job there. Uh, there came a point in 2012 when I left TV news, and actually a few years before that, I went to go do some commercial work. And then after that, I got an offer to join a production company. And I thought, oh, this is so cool. It's something different. I like this idea. And I quit. It didn't last long. They let me go after 2 months. And
Hmm.
so this was in 2000, right at the end of 2011. And so that set up this year, 2012, which just absolutely changed my life. I was without a job for 9 months, and we were in the process of getting out of debt. At this point, we'd been working on getting out of debt for about 4 years at that point. And so it was very, very stressful. And so to add on top of that, my wife decided to get blessed with being pregnant during those 9 months. And so, there it was excitement, but also just a ton of worry. Ended up getting a job at another TV station when those 9 months were over. I got a job, and 3 days later, my third son was born. So it was amazing how that worked. But I've never grown so much in my life during a time as I did during that time because, I mean, we literally had no idea how we were gonna pay our mortgage and pay all the bills. We ended up not paying our mortgage a couple of times, and we ended up getting help from places we didn't expect to get help from. And it was such a faith builder. And so that was really, I guess, when I realized that there's there's an element of provision when it comes to work. And because up to that point I had always just had a regular job, a regular paycheck, but then I saw kind of then that it could be fleeting. And so that was a lesson to me. And that led to down the line eventually going to work other places and then eventually stepping out on my own. And that was a whole nother chapter of faith building and really trusting God with work.
So when you went through that, do you feel like you were kind of being led to where you're at with your own business?
Yes. So the production company stint was short, but I also learned a lot. And I think I did realize at that point, I was like, this is what I do want to do with my career. I want to have something like this. I think this is great. But I had no idea how to do it. So I started baby steps at that time. I was able to start doing some work on the side while doing my full-time job. And so, yeah, and maybe even a little bit before then, but I was really starting to learn a few things about my business at that point, or how to run a business. Really, I should say like how to do something on the side isn't that doesn't have a direct employer over my head. How to work for yourself a little bit. I had a lot to learn still, and it took me, a decade before I was really ready to make the jump to being full time with it.
What led to that leap?
Oh
Was it
man.
your choice or was it God pushing you out the door?
It was more my choice. So at that time, I'd been working in a school district for 5 years, doing video production for them. Loved the job. I really did love that job. Great people. Still talk to a lot of those people today. And it was such a nice way to get out of the news business and into something different. And because I got to be around kids and my own, all three of my kids were much younger school age at that point. So it was a really nice time in life. But eventually I kind of was feeling the tug at that point and realizing that I didn't really want to I wanted to do my own thing. And so I had been doing some work with some other people, and I knew there was kind of an opportunity there, but I was still a little afraid to make the leap at that point. And so I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I got this opportunity to go teach for at a high school to go teach production. And I was like, that could be good. And it was a part-time opportunity. And I was like, all right, I can go do this part-time and I can really, ramp up the business on the side in my spare time. And that'll be how I do it. Well, I quickly realized once I became a teacher that there is no such thing as a part-time teacher, even if you're called a part-time teacher, because it's so busy. And I had never done it before. And so, I mean, I had gone to school for it originally and ended up switching, but I had never done that as a job. So the amount of planning, the amount of grading, it was pretty overwhelming to me, and it was definitely a full-time job. And I'm like, my company is not getting built this way, and I'm suddenly making half as much money as I was. So it's time to do something about it. And so that's when I really, really made the leap, is right at the beginning of 2023.
Okay. And yeah, so you've been doing that. I guess that makes this year your third anniversary, huh?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was.
Congrats.
Thank you. Can't believe. Sometimes I can't believe that I've made it this long, and other times it feels like, wow, it's only been 3 years. Wow.
So then with this, I mean, it's not new, but it's not old adventure.
Yeah.
Where is God working in your life right now?
I feel like that's a different answer almost every day. It kind of depends on the day of the week. Um, right now I'm in a place where I'm trying to find a balance between it's about the trust issue with the God providing. It's when you're running, you're doing your own thing, and nothing is super consistent. You've got to trust that the Lord is going to um, He's going to give you what you need to get you through every month. And there have certainly been a few months here and there where it's been scary. But other months where it's been better than I could have ever imagined. And it's just finding that balance, like, okay, I know this is where God has me. I know this is what God wants for me. Man, how do I survive those months? And so that's kind of I'm getting my mind wrapped around that right now, I think.
Mm. Yeah. I haven't been doing this that long, so I don't know that I have wisdom there. That's what prayer's for.
You don't have all the answers for me?
Yeah, no, none of the above, but God does.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Chris, what would you want our audience to walk away knowing about God?
Um, I think the biggest thing, like I mentioned earlier, is just that he can be trusted with the little things. And God shouldn't be something that's a part of your life on Sundays and that's it, or maybe just a little bit on the mornings. Um, God is with you in this journey, and there's no detail that's too small, and you need to bring it to him, no matter what it is. And when you're thinking about work and all the things that you got to get done, um, think about it from the perspective of your faith and through the lens of your faith. And I think the more you can ground yourself in a true relationship with the Lord, the less tendency you'll have to really try to compartmentalize everything. And I would just say bring your work to God. That's what I would want people to know.
I love that. Thank
I do
you.
too.
What would you want our listeners to walk away knowing about you and your business?
Um, there's a lot of video production companies out there that people can work with, certainly. Um, one of the things I get told when I interview people, when I'm done interviewing someone for a video, is they're like, that really was easy. You made that easy. And I was pretty stressed out about this, but that wasn't bad. And I was like, well, good. I mean, that's what I want for people. It's like I don't want it to be a stressful experience when you work with me. I'm there to tell your story with my work, and I want natural conversations, and I don't want it's my job to make you look good, and I'm going to do that, but I don't want to um, overwhelm somebody with just the stress of preparing for a video production. I want to bring out the real you when I'm interviewing you and telling your story.
I love that. And where can people find you?
You can find me on my website, but probably a better place would be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are really the one places I'm at right now.
And the name of your company?
Abundant Life Productions. And so my various handles are, you know, not too far off from just Abundant Life Productions. I can't remember them off the top of my head right now, but I know LinkedIn is Abundant Life Productions, and Facebook, I believe, is right there too, but there's some sort of weird abbreviation on the Instagram side. Sorry, I can't think of it right now.
May I ask the uh, backstory on that name, on that branding? I imagine I have an idea.
Yeah. So it definitely comes from John 10. And when Jesus says, I've come that they might have life and have it to the fullest. And at that time in my life, that was actually before my layoff. But I was really being learning at the time that as Christians, a lot of times we focus on the death side of Jesus's story, the crucifixion, um, and what that means for um, our forgiveness of sins and our eternal destiny and all these things. But we don't focus so much on the other half of the equation, and that's the fact that he did rise and he's got an abundance of life for us to embrace in this life. And it's not just being here and being okay, that'll be great when I get to heaven someday. But no, there's an abundance of life now that he wants to offer us. And I want that sort of joy to be evident when just in my life, but also when I'm meeting people and working with people.
Well, and drawing out that abundant life mindset in your clients probably gives you a chance to model the faith that you walk rather than proselytizing at people. So it probably
Yeah.
has a deeper impact, I imagine.
Yeah, and I get more comments on the name that I would have ever expected. And it's kind of one of those cool things where I'm like, it kind of lets me know when I might be working with a believer too. So like they're like, "Oh, I love your name." I'm like, "Okay. I can see why you love my name, I think."
That's
Well, Chris,
fantastic.
thank you so much for coming on our show. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing about Abundant Life Productions,
Yeah.
which I love the name.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
can see
And
welcome.
why.
would you pray us out?
Yeah, you bet. Lord, thank you for the chance to be on this podcast and have this conversation. And I pray that you bless the words that were said here today, and that you would use them. And I pray that you would continue to use this podcast to encourage people as they work and as they bring you into their work. And yeah, thank you for this day. Amen.
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 This is God at Work, reminding you to lead with faith, serve with purpose, and live out your calling. Until we meet again, keep walking boldly in your faith at work and beyond, and remember, your business is your ministry.